In ancient Mesopotamia, where civilization began, lived a legend of Aurelia, the Golden City. Hidden deep in endless deserts, everything there was pure gold. Palaces, trees, even water flowed like liquid sunlight. Many searched but none returned. Kings sent armies, merchants risked fortunes, all vanished in the sand. Yet the legend persisted through millennia. This is the tale of Prince Lysander, whose destiny became forever bound to Aurelia's secret, a story of courage, sacrifice, and discovering that life's greatest treasures aren't always what they seem. In Assyria's grand palace, young Prince Lysander knelt beside his dying father. King Aldrich, once mighty, now frail, gripped his youngest son's hand. "Lysander," he whispered, "I must confess. I spent 40 years searching for Aurelia, the Golden City. I failed, but I know it exists. This compass," he pointed weakly, "always aimed true into the deep desert. Promise me, my son. Find what I could not. Prove miracles still exist." With trembling hands, he passed the ancient compass to Lysander. "Promise me." Lysander gazed at the strange compass, its metal unlike any he'd seen, symbols etched in forgotten script. Unlike his warrior brothers who craved power, Lysander had always loved mysteries and ancient tales. "I promise, father," he vowed, voice thick with emotion. "I'll find Aurelia, not for gold, but for truth." The king smiled peacefully, closed his eyes, and breathed his last. As Lysander held his father's still hand, the compass suddenly glowed faintly, its needle spinning wildly before pointing steadily southeast into the vast desert. 7 nights after the funeral, Lysander prepared in secret. His brothers would call him mad, his mother would weep. By candlelight, he gathered essentials: stellaris, the meteorite sword of his bloodline; water for 30 days, dried dates and meat; medicine and bandages; copies of ancient maps showing desert routes. Most important was his father's compass, now constantly pointing southeast. At dawn, before the palace woke, he would slip away. This quest wasn't about glory or gold, it was about keeping a sacred promise. As first light painted the sky pink and gold, Lysander led his white stallion Zephyr through the servants' gate. Only his mother knew, blessing him through tears and pressing a protective amulet into his palm. "Find your father's dream," she whispered, "but come back to me." The city still slept as horse and rider passed through empty streets. At the desert's edge, Lysander looked back once at his home, then spurred Zephyr forward. The golden sand swallowed their tracks within minutes, as if they'd never existed. The desert showed no mercy. By day, the sun was a hammer on an anvil, with Lysander the metal being shaped through suffering. Sand burned through his boots, wind stripped moisture from his lips. By night, cold bit deep enough to crack teeth. Zephyr struggled bravely, but after 2 weeks, both horse and rider were shadows of themselves. Water ran low, food dwindled. Still the compass pointed southeast, unwavering. On the 20th day, Lysander saw his first skeleton, a merchant, probably, gold coins scattered around bleached bones. On day 23, the horizon turned sickly yellow. Desert travelers know this sign: Haboob, the devouring storm. A wall of sand 300 feet high raced toward them, faster than galloping horses. Lightning crackled within the brown mass. Lysander spotted a narrow canyon and urged the terrified Zephyr toward it. They tumbled into a hidden cave entrance just as the storm struck. Outside, the world ended in a screaming fury of sand and wind. Inside, blessed darkness and silence. Safe, for now, but trapped until the storm passed. Lysander lit his last torch, revealing wonders. The cave walls bore ancient paintings, colors still vivid after millennia. A city of impossible beauty. Golden spires touching clouds, gardens with metallic trees bearing jeweled fruit, fountains spraying liquid sunshine. At the center stood a woman with magnificent golden wings, arms raised as if blessing or warning. Below, text in the old tongue read, "Aurelia, beloved and cursed, where Goddess Solara weeps golden tears for the folly of men." Lysander traced the words, feeling destiny's hand upon his shoulder. Exhausted, Lysander slept by his dying fire. A voice like celestial music woke him, Prince of Assyria. The cave blazed with golden radiance. Before him stood Solara herself, beauty beyond mortal description. Hair like waterfalls of gold, wings each feather seemingly alive with inner light, eyes holding centuries of wisdom and sorrow. You seek Aurelia, she spoke, voice resonating through his soul. Many have tried. All failed. The city demands proof of worthiness through 3 trials. Accept, and face destiny. Without hesitation, Lysander knelt. I accept, divine Solara. Not for gold or glory, but to honor my father's dream and uncover truth. The goddess studied him with ancient eyes. Brave words, young prince. We shall see if your heart matches your tongue. 3 trials await. Courage beyond fear, wisdom beyond knowledge, compassion beyond self. Fail any, and the desert claims you forever. Succeed in all, and Aurelia's greatest secret becomes yours. She raised her hand, and reality twisted. The cave vanished, replaced by an arena of ancient stone. A sphinx materialized. Lion body large as a palace, eagle wings blocking the sun, woman's face beautiful yet terrible. Show me courage, little prince, she roared. Draw your sword and strike me down. She lowered her massive head, exposing her neck. An easy kill. Lysander's hand touched Stellaris, then stopped. This was wrong. True courage wasn't killing. He stepped forward, placed his palm gently on her head. I won't destroy beauty to prove strength. Courage means choosing right over easy. The Sphinx smiled and vanished like smoke. The arena became a golden maze, walls 20 feet high, covered in shifting hieroglyphs. Reach the center before moonset or remain forever lost, Solara's voice echoed. Lysander tried everything, following walls, marking paths, decoding symbols. Hours passed fruitlessly. Then he heard crying. A child's voice, desperate and afraid. Deep in the maze, a boy huddled in terror. Please help me. Lysander faced a choice. Continue alone or help the child and likely fail. Without hesitation, he lifted the boy. We'll escape together, I promise. What's your name? Lysander asked gently. Alim, the boy sniffled. My grandmother taught me a song about mazes. Want to hear? As Alim hummed the ancient melody, the walls began glowing in rhythm. Each note corresponded to a direction. The song was a map. Following the musical pattern, they navigated swiftly through the labyrinth. They reached the center as the moon touched the horizon. Alim smiled, transformed into golden light, and vanished. Wisdom often comes from unexpected sources, Solara's voice approved. Tears streamed down Lysander's face as he turned from Aurelia. Father, forgive me, he whispered, but I cannot choose gold over innocent lives. He walked toward the village. I choose compassion, always. The moment he decided, everything shimmered. The village vanished, another illusion. But his choice was real. Solara appeared, smiling with approval and sadness. Now witness Aurelia's truth, and understand why your compassion matters more than you know. Reality shifted again, and suddenly, they stood within the Golden City itself. The final trial materialized as a crossroads. Left stood Aurelia's open gates, golden palaces, jeweled trees, fountains of liquid gold, wealth beyond imagination. Right lay a dying village. Children with cracked lips begging for water, mothers holding babies too weak to cry, elders digging desperately in dust. Choose, Solara commanded. Aurelia's sacred spring can save the village, but doing so dissolves the city forever. Or claim the gold and let strangers meet their fate. Lysander looked at untold riches, then at innocent suffering. His choice was clear. Aurelia was breathtaking but wrong. Everything was gold, buildings, trees, fountains, but nothing lived. No wind stirred golden leaves. No birds sang. Then Lysander saw them. Statues filling the streets, their faces frozen in horror. These weren't carved. They were people turned to gold. Behold Aurelia's curse, Solara said sadly. King Midas II, grandson of the legendary Midas, inherited greed without wisdom. He demanded everything turn to gold. The gods granted his wish as punishment. Solara led him to the palace center. There sat the king, a golden statue clutching a smaller figure, a child, a girl of perhaps 7 years. His daughter ran to embrace him when he returned from the temple where he'd made his wish. She turned to gold in his arms. He couldn't let go, weeping until he too became metal. For 3,000 years, I've guarded this monument to greed, waiting for one pure enough to break the curse. She handed Lysander a crystal vial. Standing at the city's heart, Lysander poured Solara's tears into the central fountain. By compassion chosen over greed, by life valued over gold, by love stronger than curse, I break these chains." The tears hit water, and light exploded outward. Golden surfaces cracked like eggs. The curse fought back, trying to turn Lysander gold, but his pure intent shattered its power. Cracks spread rapidly through streets, up buildings, across every golden surface. From each break came blinding light, then color, real, living color. The transformation had begun. Aurelia was awakening. Like dominoes falling in reverse, life returned to Aurelia. Golden statues became breathing people, gasping first breaths in 3 millennia. Trees sprouted green leaves, flowers bloomed in radiant colors. Clear water burst from fountains. Birds materialized, singing joy. The king and princess awakened last, their embrace now warm flesh instead of cold metal. Citizens wept with happiness, dancing in streets now stone instead of gold. Solara's wings faded as she became mortal again, Aurelia's first queen, finally free. "You gave us life," she said to Lysander. "The greatest treasure of all." 10 years later, King Lysander, for his brothers had renounced their claims, sat in his palace garden, now a green oasis. Children gathered to hear his famous tale. "And that," he concluded, "is how I learned that Aurelia's true treasure wasn't gold, but the lesson it taught. Compassion and life are worth more than all riches." The old compass at his neck glowed softly. Sometimes, on clear nights, he still dreamed of Solara's grateful smile. The legend of Aurelia lived on, but now as a story of redemption, not greed.